So back in November of 2020 I decided to get a Shrek box set, and to begin my journey of watching and reviewing every Shrek movie. And I just thought, haha, I'll probably never finish this, but I'll make this a project and try to get it done in maybe a few months or so. And I really didn't realize the extent of it. It's one of those insane and unrealistic things you just think of that you just wanna do for fun, and then you just give up after a week or two. But I felt like this idea had some potential. So at the beginning of 2021, I decided to try it. It went smoothly. I mean, yes, my device felt like it was gonna explode from heat. But I still got it done. My sister helped me with my ratings, and I was confident that I was gonna be able to finish this. Fast forward to 6 months later and my hand is sore as hell from editing a 55-minute video. As I nervously wait the 1-hour render time for my big project to finally be shown to the world. My horribly low patience made me decide to waste no time at all and immediately upload it with barely any announcement prior to its release. No premiere, just uploading it on some random Sunday. And I sorta regret that, because nobody really cared about it. Oof. So at the beginning of that video, I hinted at making a sequel where I watch and review every Shrek short. Even if I didn't actually wanna do it, I would have eventually felt the guilt of saying I was gonna do something without ever doing it. So basically, if you don't get what a Shrek short is, there's an extra exclusive disc at the back of the box set, where there are a bunch of series and stuff. But it includes the TV and DVD Shrek shorts such as Scared Shrekless, Shrek the Halls, The Ghost of Lord Farquaad, and more. So I'm gonna review all of those. Let's see how long this takes. So starting off. So I actually watched Shrek the Halls a few years ago, but I barely remember any of it. But for this first one, all of the TVs were being used, so I just decided to do the strategy I used to find clips in the first video and watch it through a sketchy playlist on YouTube with terrible audio. So let's do this. In the beginning, Shrek is in the swamp with his babies, when suddenly Donkey starts singing Christmas carols in Shrek's face. He says that there's only 159 more days until Christmas, but Shrek says he doesn't care about it. But in the fall, Donkey starts singing Jingle Bells, and then in winter, he does it again. Shrek says that no one cares about Christmas, but apparently Fiona does.
Ruin the surprise for her, Donkey.
Surprise? Oh, I love surprises.
For whatever reason everyone just seems soulless in this. And then they have this epic intro. Shrek goes into a library in order to learn more about Christmas. And one morning, Shrek is decorating. Fiona thinks it's beautiful, but Donkey says it's ugly. And since it's Christmas Eve, he's giving out Christmas cards. Shrek is kind of nervous, I think. Fiona says it's going to be the best Christmas ever, and they go out in the snow. Let me just say that the swamp looks cursed, covered in snow. Shrek starts following the steps in the book he got about Christmas. Eventually, Shrek is telling a Christmas story, in which Donkey barges in and says Merry Christmas. And then all of the gang is here and wants to celebrate. Dragon lights the fireplace. Shrek doesn't like this, and walks away. He goes back inside, and Jingy says he doesn't feel good, buffs up a chocolate chip, and says he feels better. And by this point, I'm cringing into my soul, which is the very thing that this movie lacks. But I'll explain afterwards. After some partying, Donkey tells a Christmas story. It has no soul. Blah, blah. Oh, and a turkey starts dancing. Shrek stops the story, in which Puss starts telling his own. It's about some Santa Puss thing, in which he plays with the thing on his hat. Shrek still wants everyone to leave, but Jingy starts telling a story too. And in this, Santa starts eating Jingy and some girl gingerbread. And Shrek has had enough. He wanted a nice Christmas with his family, but Donkey wants to tell more stories. He picks up Shrek's book, and as I'd predict, it flings in the air and causes chaos. Shrek's butt is on fire, in which water is dumped on him. This is the last straw. Everyone is kicked out. Shrek is mad, but Fiona is sad. She doesn't like that he kicked everyone out on Christmas just because it's not what he wanted. Fiona is trying to explain to him that their friends are their family. So Fiona leaves, and says she needs to apologize to their friends. Okay, this is just awful. I'm sorry. It's so predictable. Anyways, Shrek is sad now, and starts to piece things together. Fiona is discussing things with their friends. Shrek comes out, and tries to say sorry. Okay, do I really need to explain this anymore? I think we can predict exactly how this crappy cash grab ends. So they basically learn that Shrek has never celebrated Christmas. And then they learn that the right way to celebrate Christmas is to just do it. And then they come back to Shrek's swamp. Shrek throws out the Christmas book, and tells a really bad story about Ogre Claus. And then they see Santa Claus outside. And then they live happily ever after. The end. I hated this corporate crap. It was really generic and predictable. And everyone had no depth to them. They are just shells of themselves that give off none of those juicy Shrek vibes. I don't really think I have to explain any more at this point. So I guess I'll rate this a 5/10. Moving on. For the love of God. For this next one, me and my sister decided to have a Shrek short binging day. So we popped in the disc and started tuning in. So now let's watch Shrek in the Swamp. Karaoke Party. Which is literally just them singing popular songs in the swamp. It's nothing special. Okay, maybe kind of special. There's one point where it shows Farquaad in Dragon's stomach. Even though there's a ghost of Lord Farquaad short. Anyways. I'd rate this a 7 out of 10 because why not? So the next one is Far Far Away Idol. Basically it starts with everyone at a stage, and they're gonna do the equivalent of American Idol, because for whatever reason Simon Cowell is in it. And so we start off with Donkey, and the panel says Donkey's on fire, and he actually is on fire. Comedy. Then we have more people singing terribly, including a collab with Prince Charming and the Ugly Stepsister. Then Charming sings so bad that he's ejected. There's a part where Jingy and a fairy sing together. Other people sing and stuff. It's really predictable. Shrek and Fiona have a musical number. And then the winner ends up being Simon Cowell. So does this mean he's technically a canon part of the Shrek cinematic universe? This was pretty bad. It was really just more Shrek characters singing popular songs 5 out of 10 just for being Shrek. But it was really pointless. So my sister really didn't wanna watch the Three Diablos. But luckily Bob the Builder and SpongeBob Fan 2005 has it re-uploaded to YouTube with a KineMaster watermark. Okay, never mind, this is too bad. Let's just watch it in a crappy playlist instead. So it starts with Puss in the middle of a desert riding a horse and being all confident in himself. He runs into knights who were looking for him. He's led into a castle, in which he sees the queen. She says that the grand jewel of her kingdom is missing, and she wants him to find it. Anyways, he has to go with the Three Diablos. He finds them in this dungeon thing, and they are kittens. He has to teach them how to go on this journey. They start chaining him up and being chaotic. They end up throwing him into a hole, and he's buried. He gets out from under where he was buried, and wants to find them. They want to fight, but then they do the eyes at each other. They throw sand in his eyes. He's able to tie them up after they are distracted. He starts talking to them. He thinks they need someone point them in the right direction. He starts naming them. He teaches them how to be like him, I guess. But then they get distracted by a fly. Ha 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 ha, how hilarious. He tells them a story and they fall asleep, and wake up in the morning, and they find a secret hideout, with a guy popping out of a hole, and apparently he's the Whisperer, and he has what they're looking for. So they start fighting. Once Puss is hanging off a cliff, the Three Diablos start attacking the Whisperer. They drop the guy off a cliff, and get the jewel. They give it to the queen for her crown, and Puss is awarded with money, in which he awards them with the now trained Three Diablos. Puss goes off on his horse. The end. So this was really predictable. It was pretty easy to predict where the story would go, and it wasn't anything that worth watching 6 out of 10. By now the Shrek disc suddenly wasn't working. It just wouldn't load, and the DVD player would just spit the disc out. It was almost as if it had given up on Shrek. So we tried again later, and nothing was different. We even tried it on the computer, and it'd make the same weird sounds. So we brought out a big DVD player, and used that instead.
So I'm editing right now, and I'm just jumping in to say that apparently the Ghost of Lord Farquaad is a 4D attraction at some Universal Park, so the little amount of footage posted to YouTube is crappy quality, except for this one, which is only half of the movie. So for the first half of it, I'm going to use this crappy edited broadcast of it, which sounds like it was done over in a submarine. And then once we get to the second half of the movie, I'll use the good quality footage.
So immediately looking at this, it was obviously intended to be 3D. Anyways, Shrek and Donkey are in a forest, and Fiona's in the carriage. They are looking at a map. Fiona cries because the carriage is an onion. Haha. They find a shortcut, and it looks creepy. They find Thelonious on a horse, and he puts Fiona on it with him. They are running through the forest to get Fiona. They run into a gingerbread house, which is Jingy's. They then go into a graveyard, which is sort of a dead end. They start to be afraid of ghosts. They find Farquaad's grave. His ghost comes out of it. The statue starts moving. Farquaad's ghost comes out of his grave. Donkey makes a meta joke.
You die in the first movie.
Dragon appears and flies off to Fiona. There's a dragon behind them. A bunch of insane crap is happening. I feel dizzy. The other dragon falls into the water. Farquaad flies over to where Fiona is. So I guess Farquaad wants to kill Fiona so he can be king of the underworld or something. They are on a raft, and Shrek gets on it. They are with Thelonious, and they are now falling down a waterfall, and onto Dragon. Farquaad's ghost is hit with fire, and goes away. And now Shrek and Fiona are at the castle, and I guess they are having their honeymoon and celebrating. The end. So this wasn't bad. It was more creative and higher quality than the other shorts. 7 out of 10 honestly. So now for Scared Shrekless. People are running through Shrek's swamp all scared, and drop their candy, which the babies try to eat. And then Shrek's friends try to scare him by unexpectedly being in his house, which doesn't work. They start talking about scary stories. They walk up to the abandoned castle of Duloc. Everything is all messed up now. They go into a circle to have a scary story contest. So now Jingy is telling a scary story where he goes to the Muffin Man. He wants the right gingerbread woman for him. There's lots of sugar to make her real sweet. They put the dough in the oven. The gingerbread woman is ready, and she's crazy over Jingy. They have fun together. But then at their home, Jingy tries to go outside, but she won't leave him alone. He tries to get out, but she won't get away from him. He throws her into some burning dough, but then the dough turns into something more terrifying. A whole army of terrifying gingerbread women who want to be with him forever. They crowd around him. The story is over, and the 3 little pigs run away. It turns out he made it up. It's Donkey's story now. Puss and Donkey go into a motel, and I guess Puss gets in the shower, and was never seen again. Apparently Prince Charming then came in and started doing weird crap, and then Puss woke up. Puss and Donkey go back and forth in the story, and there's weird crap like talking waffles. Anyways, the story is over. Shrek tells his. Shrek is babysitting, and the child is insane or something. It's Pinocchio. I guess Shrek's supposed to be an doctor, even though Pinocchio clearly has a demon in him or something. So he starts crawling on the ceilings and crap. He's thrown out the window, and a cricket comes out of his ear. And that's what was putting his thoughts in there. Shrek scares Pinocchio off by showing him a cricket. So now it's down to only Shrek and Donkey. So they start discussing Farquaad's ghost like it's an urban legend, even though they had a whole short about it. And then I guess Farquaad's ghost is here, because things starts floating around and stuff, and Donkey runs away. But Shrek faked it. I guess this was all to prove a point that ogres are the scarers. This was fine. Pretty good for a short 6.5 out of 10. So I guess there's a theater, and Shrek and the gang are walking out of it. Shrek didn't want to see the kind of movie they saw. They wanted to see something scary. Puss and Donkey start singing Thriller, and they walk through town singing it. We go into the graveyard and see people coming out of their graves while Puss is trying to be scary. So now they are surrounded by zombies. But then Fiona's a zombie. Everyone except for Shrek are dancing as zombies. I don't understand. Seriously though, What's up with all these shorts with Shrek characters singing popular songs? It's getting old. So now the zombies are coming towards Shrek. And it turns out that Shrek slept through the movie. And that was a nightmare or something. And I guess that's it. So that was weird. I didn't understand the point. It wasn't terrible. But there's nothing really to judge off of. So 6 out of 10 I guess. We zoom in on far far away, with 3 little pigs talking to each other. I can barely understand what they are talking about. Anyways, they go into their house, and it seems that they have a new neighbor. And I just realized that this little pig has a broken foot, so that's why he's left at home. So anyways, he's looking at the new neighbor through a telescope because that trope hasn't been done enough. He sees some lady doing crap. The other pigs think he's crazy. They then see a lady with knives and crap. They are trying to tell the pig that there's nothing going on. One of the pigs walks into the house, and the neighbor grabs him. She breaks into the pig's house, and she rolls him into hers. And I guess they're being fed. The wolf is telling them to get out of there. So they run out, and the lady is running after them. And that's it. I swear I watched this when I was a kid, but this was just stupid and didn't even have Shrek in it. 5 out of 10. And now we only have the adventures of Puss in Boots TV show left. Ugh. I don't wanna watch them. For your own health, I'm gonna do a candid review segment in front of my closet.
So in the first episode, I immediately noticed that this feels like every other crappy TV show based on a movie. The animation is pretty terrible compared to Shrek. Like, I know that it's some cash grab, but there's only 6 episodes, which amounts to a whole movie, so they could have done something like the same animation as Shrek. But Puss's fur is clearly not rendered, and the lighting is terrible. It looks like a Pixar pre-render, or some blunders has gone wrong. And according to my sister, who's watched a bunch of animation videos, that's a sign of impatience, because fur takes hours to render. So it's basically just a sign that they don't care. So anyways, I seriously can't get over how ugly this animation looks. The mouth movements are kind of off, and I guess Kitty then gives him a book that she's proud of and drives off on a carriage. I don't even know. The characters seem very off, and this doesn't feel like Puss in Boots at all. It's done in a way where I can understand what's happening, kind of, but it's so hollow that I just can't describe it. The backdrop is so empty that it makes the whole story strung together by just conversation and crappy animation. And these so-called humans, this just isn't Shrek. You know what? I don't think I even have to watch this because I'm just gonna rate it a 3 out of 10. But honestly, I give it more of a 1 out of 10 because it's just really lazy and bad for all the reasons stated. The animation style dries out my mouth, and the conversations that are equivalent to Dr. Bismol. So let me pass it to my text-to-speech self now, because for whatever reason I need to take a giant crap after this.
Thank you, candid version of myself. Now it's time to end the video with my final thoughts. One thing I learned today is that shorts are often not very good, given that they are usually either cash grabs from attractions, or at the end of movies or something. I really don't know what else to say about these. They don't really spark any feelings inside of me like the Shrek movies do. So thanks for watching. And anyway, bye.